Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
Your journey matters. It matters a lot. The experiences that you've had, the pain that you've been through, the joy that you've been through, the relationships you've had that have been amazing and are still going, the relationships that you've had that did not work and you have parted ways or in the process of going through a breakup or a divorce, the challenges you've had with your children, the joys that you've had with your children, the difficulties you've had with health, the things you've done to invest in your health. Your journey matters. This conversation on the podcast is going to be a lot more about things like this and much less. To me, a life of more is not about, it's about remembering more. It's about becoming more of who you truly are. It's about the big picture of the things that matter. And yes, date nights matter in a marriage. And yes, it matters that you spend time with your kids. And yes, that it matters that you make money and you take care of yourself financially. Yes, all these things matter, right? But I think there's a bigger piece of this journey than setting up a result and crushing it, right? This is not going to be a conversation about just do the work and, you got to hustle and stop complaining and all this stuff. For some of you, some of the reason why you start listening in the first place, you're the comments I would get from a lot of women is I love how you just punch me in the face, do it, tell me the truth, and I like when you get on my ass about things, and the times that you feel like I've been speaking to you, and I have. But it's not going to be about that anymore, because the work is now going to start to go inside. And what that means is that it's really understanding and having a trust. We're going to be talking more about spirituality and God on this podcast, and really understanding that everything that has happened to you, if you hear anything in this podcast, hear this today, sister or brother. Everything that has happened to you and everything that is happening to you and everything that will happen to you is all happening for you. There is something for you to see in this experience. So when I was cruising along with Women Wanting More, with this coaching business back at the beginning of the year, and started to really take a look at things and was not really hitting results that I wanted within business, which were things like this, so many women inside the Sisterhood, which is a group coaching program that I run, and so many women at live events, and so many lives touched, and so many women that are buying some of the courses that I've created, that are getting journals, just the parameters, the metrics that I had in my head of where I thought I should be at that point, 2 years in or so, was not it. And I was frustrated. And, it's an interesting thing too, because I speak to some, young people. I'm going to say young people in your 20s who go, I've been trying this thing for 2 years and it's not coming together. It's dude, you need to have more life experience. I'm a 49-year-old woman. It's a very different conversation to have when you've had all these different experiences. When, for some of you, you might be tuning in. This is the first time I listen to the podcast. It's sister, I've been working on myself since my early 20s. I'm not new to this. And I don't mean to say this as I somehow am on this different pedestal than you. It's not about that. It's not about that. It's just simply there's been more times that I've been at bat with a lot of things in life, and with that comes a lot of experience. With that comes, for me at least, comes a lot of trust. With that comes a lot of knowing of okay, so this thing is happening now and it sucks. Like, this is not the plan that I had in my mind. I do not like this. I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to sprinkle it with positive affirmations. And somehow, I'm going to experience what I'm experiencing, and I don't like it right now. It's like a toddler, right, having a tantrum, like, I don't like this. But yet, have an understanding that, okay, I don't like this right now, but I'm still going to trust it. I might be angry this is going on, but I still surrender to this experience right now because I know that there's something for me to see, simply because I've had life experiences that have, brought me to a place that I couldn't see at that point, but it did. And so when you are in your 20s, unless you've had, you're one of these old souls. I've known some in my lifetime that, they can be 19 and they're just like wise beyond their years. But yeah, there's some wisdom that comes along with age. Some of my favorite parts of aging is that. It's just like, man, yeah, like people are so choked over, well, when someone said something to me and it just like, was destroyed them. And like, I get it. I was there at one point too, but I'm just like, oh, honey, you'll be okay. Like, it's all right. I know you think it's, it's crushed your day, your week, your month, your year, but really in the grand scheme of things, you're going to look back at this and, you're going to see that it's not all those things. It's not all those things. But, I think the biggest reason I really want to talk about this message today of your journey matters is for you to know that there's no insignificant thing in there. And the time that you invest in yourself and the books that you read and the conversation that you have with a random stranger walking down the street or walking your dogs, or you listening to this podcast right now, or, the thing that you've done to help yourself to be more healthy and maybe it didn't quite go the way that you wanted to, maybe something like weight loss or, a new diet regime or a new fitness thing you're trying. And it's like, you didn't really, it's not about doing things and everything as a home run. Oh my God, if that's the parameter that you hold yourself to, life of misery, right? Life of not enough. That's not what this is about. That's not what your life is here, what your purpose is here. Purpose of your life is simply to remember who you are and to be that. And that sounds so like up in the clouds, right? You're like, Karen, but how do I do that? And, as much as I still understand the need for practicality, and you're like, okay, well, so my journey matters, but this thing keeps happening. The wrong guy I keep attracting, or the friendships that keep turning sour, or the business decisions that keep siphoning money, am I just trusting all these things? No, there has to be some work invested in and some reflection time and some awareness and some listening to the voice inside. And listening and following that and not thinking that you know the answers and working through your anger and past stuff and understanding that all that is ammunition and fuel for you to remember who you are and for you to be the amazing person that you are, that you just don't even see yet. And you think that certain parts of your journey doesn't matter. Listen, when I started unraveling this year, around spring, started back in January, again, I'm just, as I talked about at the top of the podcast, like, oh, things aren't working out in business. And then I started to have, injuries with me training for what would have been my first boxing tournament 2 different times. Lots of challenges with our kids, challenges coming up with my husband and I, what the fuck is happening to 2019, right? Understanding that, life isn't about everything's great or you arrive or get to a certain place and that's it. Then it's just put it in cruise control and enjoy the rest of your life. No, that's not life. I don't expect it to be that way. I've had a lot of things come up in my life and it's part of life. It just is. It just is. It's like my oldest son, Tyson, that's he doesn't understand at times when he's learning something new that he just wants to just get it, right? That's the mind of a child anyways. They don't go, well, it's going to take some work. They're just like, well, I just want to do the thing, right? And so having the conversation with Tyson about, buddy, it's going to take some time for you to get good skateboarding. It's going to take some, remember how much you played Minecraft and how much you love it. And how many hours that you've put in, like getting better and better and things you can do before you could do, right? I mean, all this stuff, like, but yet here I was, the night of my birthday, sitting in the emergency with this injury that I was told was a blood clot, which is an incredibly serious thing. Ended up not being, find out the next day, but just and seeing what was happening with my legs swelling and knowing what I know as a chiropractor, just like, oh man, this is deep vein thrombosis. Like, I'm pretty certain. But, no, it can't be. I don't fit the profile. I take care of myself. I trust my body. I wasn't ignoring it, but I was just like, it'll be good. Like, I don't freak out about stuff with my body. I'm just really trusting. And then, sitting in the emergency room and just like, yep, this is most likely a blood clot. You're going to be these blood thinners. They have nasty side effects. Oh, by the way, you could still stop breathing. You could still stroke out. You could, because if that clot goes to heart or to lungs or to brain, like there's all sorts of things that can happen. And it can be fast. Like I've known people have had blood clots and like they just die. And they find out later, like, oh, they had a blood clot, So dealing with that, and then just going into a complete deep, dark pit. And allowing myself to be there, but yet at the same time going like, what is wrong with me? Like, I am not this girl. Like, yeah, I accept failure. Yes, I accept challenges in my life. I've had plenty of them. But I was just in a place that I felt like I couldn't get out of. I remember one time describing my husband, I'm like, it feels like I'm in quicksand. Like, I can't get out of it. And it's not for lack of like, working with a therapist and reading books and creating all sorts of space for myself throughout the summer and, stop doing any kind of coaching. I'm like, I don't know what any of this is, but I know that I can't work. I can't, put things together. I was still, of course, running the podcast and still running the sisterhood, but I was just like, I don't know if I want any of this stuff even anymore. Like, it was like up was down and left was right. And, it felt like this very topsy-turvy world that I was living in. Like Superman, bizarro world. Everything is the opposite. But yet it was me in it. I could not, it was just like, what the fuck is going on? And I started to kind of like, at first it was like, okay, like I need like a week, I'm tired, or I need, then it was like the summer, and then back to school stuff hit again, and it was like, I still, like it's better, but I still feel this way a lot of times, like, what the fuck, Talking to my amazing therapist, he's like, Karen, you're going through a big shift right now, and, it could be a couple of years. I'm like, couple of years? No, Also really opening myself up to God at the same time and just being like, listen, there's the plan for things, and then there's like, I don't have any, like, it's not about me. It's not up to me. It's about listening to the voice within, listening to God and following what I'm being guided to do. But yet at the same time, being that person that just really wants to take life by the horns, right? If you go back and listen to early podcasts, like, that was always me, and that's still a piece of me, but the me is changing, and I would discount. I would go like, oh, well, who am I to like go, woe is me and stuff, when, those days my husband is just dealing with so much stuff with Crohn's disease that he has in his body, or, I've got some friends that are going through just massive stuff with their children. Like, who am I to go like, oh, like, I feel like I'm going crazy with menopause stuff in my body, and that's kind of another layer of it, and I turned 50 next year, that's another layer of it, like almost like it felt like so self-serving to go, what the fuck, my problems are not problems. But yet it was. And it was not okay, and I continued to listen to that of like, this is my own journey, like, and it matters. Because I know there's some of you right now too that are going through stuff, and maybe like me are just like, yeah, but my friend down the street, or, my parents, and, challenges, but like, who am I to go, this is, not okay. And I know that some of you see it as complaining or not being grateful. And, listen, you can go through painful stuff. You can go through stuff and still be grateful in it. And I think that's the biggest message I want you to hear out of today, is that not only does your journey matter, not only does your journey matter, every little piece of it, but that you do not have to play the comparison game. Like that's a losing game. It all has significance. It all has meaning, and it doesn't have to be a big thing. Like, I'm not dying. My husband, I'm not getting divorced. Like, not even close to that. We're actually better than ever right now. And there's no, my parents aren't dying. Like, there's no, big significant thing like that to say, oh, okay, well, that's the reason why, right? Sick child, divorce, so I know there's a lot of you that are kind of going through something similar as me, but yet you don't have the big experience. And so you downplay it and you hide it and you just keep moving. You just keep going. And that's what I was doing. Until my soul just said, hey, we're done. You're not fucking listening. So we're just going to bring you down to the pit. Right into this darkness. So you can begin to choose to walk into that light. Because you think that living in this place of kind of dark, kind of light, a little bit of gray, is okay. And listen, this is not how your life is meant to be. You're meant to be shining in the light, bright, strong, vibrant, white, beautiful light, leading others to this place. And we're going to give you this experience right now so that you can understand better. And I trust it. And there's still days where I'm just like, Jesus, can I get some momentum? Can I get some can I get some feeling like I've accomplished something outside of, caring for my kids and stuff with the house and stuff with me? Writing this book has just been hard. Not because I get writer's block or anything like that. It's just finding the pockets of time. Stuff coming up with my kids. And knowing and understanding that this whole portion of balance is a piece of it. And I'm so used to being balls out with everything. So to kind of have the pendulum swing the other way, it's just oh no, you need to sit on the bench for a little bit. It's no, but coach, put me in because I want to play. And the lessons that I'm learning by sitting on the bench. So listen, we've covered a lot of stuff in this episode today. So let me hit you up right now with this more tip. Journal. I love the journal. There's so much insight that happens. I want you to open up your journal right now at the top right. My journey matters because, and start writing. That's it. Easy peasy, sister. Finishing up 2 things. Number 1, if this podcast is of value to you, I would love for you to leave a 5-star review and a written review. Take a couple minutes. Okay, there's some reviews on there that are some hateful ones. I'll just straight up say it, hateful ones. A little crazy. Everyone has a right to an opinion, but, we're going to drown them out with love instead. And so I would greatly appreciate you take 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes of your time today, go onto iTunes and leave a 5-star review and a written review of what the podcast has meant to you. And number 2, if you don't subscribe to the Women Wanting More newsletter, do that right now. drkarenosborn.com/action guide. And I have some very exciting news coming out soon about a new Facebook community that I'll be creating that is a free community with tons of value that'll be for women and will also be for men. And that's going to be going down all within the newsletter. So head over right now to drkarenosborn.com/action guide. I'm going to also send you some amazing training videos and the more form and how to really start your day in a place of power. So I will talk to you in the next episode, sister. A life of more is just one step away from realizing and understanding that every part of your journey matters. Every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosborn.com/newsletter.